We're live, yeah? Let's wait a couple seconds before we do it. People, Deluded, I'm back again. I hope you're all doing well and safe today, people. Let me put my laptop down. As I said, I hope you're all doing well and safe. I hope you're all in good spirits. If you're over here in London, good morning. You know, depending on where you are in this world, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. You know, we've got guys like Omar here saying it's lunchtime. So, you know, you're well ahead of the time in London. Either way, thank you very much for tuning in. As usual, thank you very much to everybody who's tuned in. Please make sure you hit the like button. Obviously, if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Then, and it's nice to see a lot of you in here early days, man. We've got Tyler in here. He said, only stream I've been able to catch. Been at school and interventing every day. Come on, my guy. I apologize for that, man. We've got user 101. He's already here, and I guess he's read the title. He's got strong opinions. He said, big up DG. I'm not keen on relying on one man. We have to work together in creating as a team with a lot of movement and using overloads with freedom when we created a lot of chances under Wenger. You know me, my guy. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I don't think one man coming into this club means we're automatically going to look better creatively as a team, you know, and it's similar to expecting Gabriel to change all our fortunes defensively. Yes, he's a good defender, he's going to get better, but to expect us to keep, you know, the record amount of clean sheets and all of these sort of things on the reliance of bringing in one man is silly. Our attack starts from Leno, our defense starts from Aubameyang, or Aubameyang doesn't even play through the middle, Lacazette. So yeah, man, big up. We'll get onto it in a sec, but like I said, big up everybody locked in. We've got my moderators there. Come on, like Daniel said, smash up the like button. I'm trying to be consistent, people, man. Without consistency, we ain't got nothing. You know, we've got people here, you know, they are, man. Come on, we're live. Do I really say people like that? Bro, whoever disliked the video, who cares, man? There's many pagans, but there's even more supporters. So it is what it is, man. Forget them, man. They're on an idiot thing. Come on, people. Fantastic ratios. Keep getting the like button up. Keep getting the like button up. Come on, man. I'm seeing a lot of praise. Let me see a bit more. We're going to get into it. I agree. Grealish does walk into our team, people. He does walk into our team. In fact, before I mentioned Grealish, people, you have been on to me about memberships and these sort of things. I've introduced free memberships. You know, the video explaining everything has gone live. Obviously, all you need to do is go on the membership page. It will tell you exactly what tiers of membership there are and what they all include. So if you want to do up the DG Nation and support the team, hit up the membership. We've got bronze, we've got silver, we've got gold. There's obviously perks according to it is what it is. Like he said, like up the thing, man. Let's make sure we do something, man. Big up Andy as well. He's locked in, man. Thank you very much. But let's discuss this Grealish thing. Like you said, fella, we can't afford Grealish at the moment or ever. That's about 80 million. Whether that's due to the, you know, the fact of Villa don't want to let him go, the fact of, you know, football's gone irrational. Like if Maguire can go for 80 million, you know, Grealish must can go for that. You know, whether it's the English premium, as said, we don't know. Either way, he's 80 million. You know, for that reason, simply put, it's not going to happen at Arsenal. He's been linked with Arsenal for a number of years, same way United more recently a number of years, and even Spurs. Like, if I remember rightly, so I know I have Spurs fans who support me. I'm sure he almost tried to force a move to go from Aston Villa to Spurs, and you know, at 25 it feels like he's been there at 30. I'm being careful with my wording, but in terms of loyalty in football or one club men, I know he's been on loan at Notts County, but you know, he is very much a one club man. He is Mr. Aston Villa. He's living the dream. You know, he didn't win, but he's taking them to an FA Cup final. Right now he's playing a major part at 25 years of age, captain, doing the business week in, week out. We just know he's a quality player, and you know, Southgate is finally seeing it. You know, I've got a lot to say about Grealish. He's an Arsenal player. He's everything you want. He can dribble. He's got the, you know, ability is one thing. But what I like, he's got the arrogance. Like he's the people I used to come against for playing against Sunday League teams like Thurrock. You know, they were ballers and they had the mouth to go with it. I really like that. Obviously, he can play on the left. He can play in the middle. So there's creativity with that. He's 25 years of age. So he's getting into his best football. He's got a number of years left. You know, I'm sure not many Arsenal fans would say they wouldn't take Grealish and would have welcomed it. So to hear that, you know, we inquired about him and we didn't get him is disappointing. But is it really? You know, logically speaking, if we want a bag of creative midfielders, You heard we've had Szoboszlai on the list. We've heard Al was on the list. You know, Grealish was probably our contingency plan. We knew we knew Aston Villa were gonna tell us where to shove it. We knew the price. You know, we probably had a little bit of a hope. Obviously, Grealish has signed an extension, and Aston Villa need Grealish more than Grealish needs Aston Villa, with all due respect, because no one's bigger than the club. He should be playing Champions League football, and it's for that reason. If I'm him, I'm not joining Arsenal, to be fair. Sky Sports, for what it said, people, for what it's worth, said Arsenal approached Aston Villa for Jack Grealish this summer. Sky Sports says Arsenal launched an inquiry for Grealish and made Aston Villa aware of their interest. Then they decided to walk away from the table after being told he was not for sale for any price under 80 million. And of course, you know, they knew in this current age they're not going to get 80 million for Grealish, but they don't care. They want to keep Grealish. If Villa had their way, they'd keep Grealish to the end of his career. And I'm sure Grealish wouldn't rule that out either. It all depends his ambitions. You know, I think he wants to play Champions League. I think he wants to join a club that's challenging for trophies or doing more things in those regards, to which Aston Villa is not that rightly. But at the same time, you never know. You know, I'm sure he wants a clean exit from Aston Villa. So that's maybe why, when you've heard City and United and maybe even Arsenal and at a time Spurs, he's been a bit reluctant to kind of force the issue and force it and kind of sever those ties. Also, with getting into England now, you know, I know a lot of people have said if you want to get into England, you need to play for the Arsenals, the Spurs, the Uniteds, the Cities, the Chelseas. And a lot of that's true. There is big club bias. There really is. There really is. But Grealish is in the England team. I get Southgate doesn't really want him there, but he's in the English team. So he doesn't need to necessarily leave to realise better sporting ambitions. He signed a good contract. And you can't underestimate feeling important. Like, if he does go to one of these bigger teams, yeah, there's going to be scrutiny on him, but he's just one of many. He can be quite disposable in that regards. At Aston Villa, you're not. It all depends what he wants. You know, does he want to play in Europe in any capacity? To which, you know, Aston Villa on current form, they might do this thing, but right now, probably suggesting that they walk away from that. Does he to which obviously it makes sense to move. Now I can imagine Arsenal fielding interest and knowing what is going to happen and being told where to shove it. To rightly so. There is no way in hell we're going to be able to afford Grealish. You know, you can't afford Zaha. How are you going to afford Grealish? You know, these English teams want their money up front. You know, these English teams want more payments up front. You know, they're not really keen for the structured payments, which is why, you know, Pepe appealed more than Zaha when you look beyond the ability. So it's not going to work out. It was probably never going to work out. I would love Grealish, as I've said. You know, he'd be one of my first choices. You know, between him, Szoboszlai, and Aouar, I would love two of the three, but I'd be cool with either one of those. But it wasn't going to happen, people. And for me, if you're going to leave Arsenal, 25 years, I mean, if you're going to leave Aston Villa, you know, surely you go to a team with a bit more stability. Like, let's not get it twisted. You know, if he was to join Arsenal, you know, he's always bigging up Mesut Ozil. He's always bigging up Arsenal as a club. He's a player we want. It is a big club to play for. Let's cut the crap in the same way Villa is, you know. But you know, there's the London aspect, but is it really worth it? You know, if you're going to leave, surely it's worth going to, I guess, you know, Man United could afford him, but Man United's not got stability. It could be worth going to a City, potentially a Liverpool. You know, these teams he's been linked with, maybe even Chelsea, where there is a bit of stability, where you're more likely to challenge for the Premier League, for the Champions League and things. You know, you're going to come to Arsenal and be part of a rebuild. You're 25, so you've got age. But, you know, where is it going to take us? You know, probably about 3 years, in which he's 27, 28, depending on the month and the year he's born in, you know. And again, he's still young, but do you really want to waste your time doing such? Or do you want to have the point of, you know, I've been at Aston Villa since I was a boy. I've been playing for them in the first team environment for a number of years. Cool, let me go to a Man City, go to this club, go to that club. And the thing is he, the thing about Grealish, price is one thing, but is he necessarily first choice? He should be for Arsenal and United, but Arsenal can't afford him. United had all their eggs in the Jadon Sancho basket. City, he would be great at City. He'd be fantastic at City, but is he their first choice? Apologies. Only they could answer that. For me, it would make sense going to a Premier League club or a team that's going to be challenging for the Premier League or the Champions League, like a Liverpool, for example. Having left Aston Villa, it doesn't really make much sense beyond that to me. Like I said previously, he's spoken about the club and the prestige, but we were never going to pay 80 million, and that's why it stopped. You know, Gilberto Silva wants him as well. He said he could be, you know, he's slightly different, but he could be the future for Arsenal. He said he seems like he could be a player that Arsenal missed. He's amazing. with his ability, he was one of the guys in the middle who could play beautiful football. He controls the ball, assists, and can score goals. He scored a cracker at United the other was it last year? Sure, he did. And obviously, he's batted up Arsenal. He's slightly different from Dennis Bergkamp, but he could be someone for the future at Arsenal. And the Grealish one's dead. You know, this is someone you needed to go for minimum the summer before last summer. In the same way, you look at someone like Maddison, you're looking at 50+ million. And even then, Maguire went for 80. You have to go for them and there when they're at Norwich. You need to go for those guys when before they've gone to the next level, sort of thing. I would welcome Grealish with open arms, but for what it is, it's clearly not going to happen. Trevor has said, why would we buy Grealish if we have Willock? And I mean, Trevor, come on, Grealish is twice the player that Willock is. Willock can still develop. You know, he can still be that creative midfielder. I think his future is in a box-to-box role. We need better players, you know, clearly. And Grealish is that. You bring in players that are better. He walks all over Joe Willock in the nicest sort of way. And I think, you know, that's the sort of comment that has fans, when they're not performing, it gets on their back. I believe in Joe Willock, but he's nowhere near the class of Jack Grealish currently. He's not able to control the ball in the way Jack Grealish is. He's not able to manipulate the ball. He's not able to dictate the tempo. He's not able to decide games like Grealish. You know, Grealish, his ability is one thing. His assisting is one thing. The role he needs, Arsenal needs him in that. That's all one thing. But for me, it's the mentality. Grealish doesn't get overruled by things, and that can't be said for most people at Arsenal. You know, he's going to take everything in his stride. Grealish wants to decide games. You see it for Aston Villa week in, week out. He wants to be the difference maker. If he's not getting a goal, he's getting an assist, or his performance and application is quite there. So Joe Willock, about to call him Joe Gomez, who's injured. Hopefully he gets through his. Joe Willock and Jack Grealish, with all due respect to Joe, I don't want to rub him out. They've not got a leg to stand on in that regards. You know, it is what it is in that regards. So it isn't going to happen, but I would love him. You know, he is an Arsenal player, but that's the way it is, man. Like Neil said, did you see the way he linked up with Sancho and Bukayo for England? It was beautiful. You know, we can't get Jadon Sancho, and we definitely can't get Grealish, you know, but it'd be lovely. You know, like I said, Jack Grealish is the man you got to go for 2 years ago, not even last year, because he was playing quite well. We look at Grealish, if we go, because for a number of years, he's been that guy that everybody's looked at and said he's talented, but it's only the last 18 months, I would say, you know, he's had good spells of form in the Premier League and for Aston Villa, but it's really been a consistent thing. And he's 25, it's expected. He's coming into his own. I don't think he wants to force things from Villa. And to be fair, like I said, you can't underestimate having that stability and being the captain and being important, because he is in a privileged position. You know, he's a captain, you know, that can change. And you look at it, he's coming into his own, but there's still development, because again, a player like him can have better numbers. You know, for Aston Villa, again, he's been playing since he was a young boy and stuff, for Aston Villa in their first team, but he's made 195 appearances, 30 goals, 37 assists. So that's not the worst. That's 67 in 195. That's not the worst. But I'm saying he can develop even more people. You look at how he played against Liverpool, how he played against Arsenal last year away to United, and many games with that. He's a baller, people, and he's going to get better. You know, in the Championship, he made 89 appearances, got 14 goals, 16 assists. In the Premier League, you know, he's made 77 appearances, and he's not even got 100 apps in the Premier. You know, 13 goals, 13 assists. And like I said, that's 26 in 77. It's not the worst at all, but that tells me there's a long way. There's more development for him to be done, you know, because he's got 14 goals in the Premier League, 13 apologies in the Premier League. 4 of them have come this year, and so have 6 assists. This season, he's having a great season, you know, 7 appearances in the Premier League, 4 goals, 6 assists. And whether he's scoring or assisting, he's playing quite well. He's dominating games, and he loves big games. For me, it's the mentality more than anything with Jack Grealish. That's why I think it would be a success at Arsenal. The mentality is spot on. I've seen technical base players walk through this club, but they ain't had the mentality. I see them at other clubs. You know, Tom Crowell at Spurs, he had all the ability, but he's a bit introverted. Why he hasn't had the career that he probably could have had. I'm not saying he would have been world class and the rest of it, but you get the point. You know, last season in 36 games, 8 goals, 6 assists. It's not the worst, but again, it shows you this season and last, there's been development. All over last season, he made 41 appearances, 10 goals and 8 assists. If we look at 18-19, which I feel was the last season to really go for him at an affordable rate, 31 appearances in the Championship, 6 goals, 6 assists. So I think that was the last real year to go for him, people, really. Like for an affordable price. You look at 17-18, you know, he was plagued by injuries, but 27 appearances in the Championship, 3 goals, 5 assists, 3 goals, 8 assists in 34 in all comps. Them years there were the ones you're meant to go for him. I'm sure 16-17 is the year we won the Premier League, people. Man said Premier League. I wish it was FA Cup. 5 assists, 5 goals in 31. So there's the ability's always been there. He's always been a mercurial dribbler, a fantastic talent. It's all about taking it to the next level. Goals and assists, and away from goals and assists, dominating those games or really leaving your footprint on those games. He's been doing that. I would love Grealish, but it's a myth, people, for many reasons. It's a myth for any reasons. Big up 1-1 for becoming a new member as well. I don't know why it's not showing my elite badges yet, because I got some badges courtesy of my friend, a good friend, Josh, customly made for you members. But it's nice to see 1-1's become a member, and I really appreciate that. And I appreciate anyone who has become a member on my YouTube channel. It means a lot. As I said, you've got the bronze one, you've got the silver, you've got the gold. If you don't become a member and you just support the thing, it means a lot, people, either way. But in relation to Grealish, the Grealish thing isn't happening, people. Like Daniel said, 83 people watching, 70 likes. Come on, let's get those likes up, people. Let's do what we need to do. His message is green because he's a member, I believe. Yeah, see, he became a YouTube member. Big up 1-1 for his thing. He might even be the first. Better late than never. I assume he rolled up to the party late. How do I become a member? Head over to, it should say on this video in the comment section, surely, people, not the comments, but when you're on the video, surely it says something along the lines of join, and then you take it from there. 1-1's put it perfectly. The channel has memberships now where you pay a small amount monthly and get perks. I passed the green thing happens when you join. Okay. That's peak. See, that's deep. So my Nigerian people, them are getting shagged. I might move, if you lot want, I'll move it over to a Patron so you lot can get the same benefits, obviously via a different medium, people. I don't think that's fair. It's not nice at all. So we've had the Jack Grealish business, people, and let me make a note of that. I wanted to speak about Mikel Arteta, and I've said this a bit, but I wanted to say it at length before I carry on. Why don't you, for you lot that can't access it in another country, why don't you use a proxy browser where it will show you from the UK or something? It might be a way around it. But in relation to Mikel Arteta, people, I wanted to just bounce my thoughts off with you guys, because I do feel in relation to Mikel Arteta, I like him and I'm not taking anything away, but I do feel to a slight degree, I don't think he's convinced on a single player in this squad. I think he believes in some man. I think he believes in their abilities to help him on a game-by-game basis and collectively over the season. But I don't think there's too many players over a 38-game period that he believes in. I think he believes in Aubameyang and what he gives him in terms of goals, but I don't think he believes in his capabilities through the middle, or he'd be playing there on a frequent basis. So I don't know why he's on the flanks, because we heard a lot of things and talk about balance, and Lacazette provides balance with Aubameyang out wide. I'm not too sure. So he believes in Aubameyang's ability, but I don't think he's fully convinced on him through the middle. Clearly, he's not fully convinced on Pepe. I don't think he rates Pepe. I think he doesn't necessarily rate William, but he's prepared to persist with the average performances because he deems that he gives him something more than Pepe. Clearly, Lacazette and Eddie Nketiah, he's not fully convinced on having one or the other. They're both. It's you will get game time, and then you. There's not one that's better than the other. It is what it is in that regards. Apologies. Like he said, everyone hit the button. Nobody said Grealish is coming. We're just entertaining it. We're just speaking about it. So get your laughs in, but I don't quite know what you're on about. But as I was saying, he's not convinced on Aubameyang's capabilities through the middle. I don't think he's convinced on Eddie or Lacazette. Clearly doesn't really feel Pepe. I thought he liked Xhaka, and I think he does. But when I see Xhaka drop for a big game and we win, it's food for thought. David Luiz against Manchester City got to play, but he also shouldn't have played because Holding got injured, a game where he was dropped. Where he was dropped. So that flips that on its head. I think there's I know he talks up Bellerin and he plays Bellerin, so I'm inclined to believe you do believe in Bellerin, but you can't be fully convinced on Bellerin when you kind of indirectly send from in press conferences. You talk up Cedric Suarez, 1 minute he's involved, then he's not. Talk a good game with Maitland-Niles, 1 minute he's involved, then he's not. I don't think there's a single player in this team that he's fully convinced on, with the exception of Aubameyang if he plays on the left. Tierney, because he's Mr. Consistent. Gabriel has shown what he's on, So what? Tierney, Gabriel. I'd say Tierney, Gabriel, Aubameyang, Leno, because he made it clear to Martinez that Leno is his number one. Past that, I don't think there's too many off the top of my head people that I think he's convinced in. And I think that Partey, obviously, because Partey's given us a new dimension and has been signed for 45 million. Other than that, I don't think there's too many players he's 100% convinced on. He 100% feels and he 100% trusts over a 38-game period, like he believes in your ability wholeheartedly. I really don't. But, you know, I'd love to be proven wrong. One thing I love about him and was saying initially is that he's very flexible. He's very flexible around, you know, some man will be used for one game and then the other not. But at the same time, I think it goes on the point of he's not necessarily convinced with our players. And when you're not convinced in any player's capabilities wholeheartedly, and when you're not convinced in our abilities, for me, collectively, to look stable defensively, you're going to shackle them in an attacking sense, you know. And that's one of the reasons as to why we find ourselves in the position we find ourselves in. Big up Life on Planet X. We've got another member. Come on, it means a lot, man. It means a lot. Like he said, come on. Big Martinelli, I think he rates Martin. Yeah, sorry. Add Bukayo Saka into that list of players, the small players he rates, because Saka's shown it. I think he rates Martinelli, but there's got to be a reason Martinelli wasn't playing frequently. Only he can answer that. Would Grealish go to Man United or Arsenal? I think he would rather. I think it's either or. You know, we've got a bit more stability, but I think he goes to United purely because United are going to offer him more wages, and United are going to put. I don't think United are going to pay 80 million for him, but who has the money to do such? We don't have the means, you know. We'll be paying until the year 3000, really and truly. Like you said, when they got relegated, you know, you've got to take a chance on these players, because when they start developing, you can forget about it. Like I said, the Madisons, the Zahas, the Grealishes, you know, these sort of players, it's a myth right now, people. It's a myth. I would love Zaha and Grealish, but they're both a myth now. It is what it is. Big up everybody locked in and things like that. As I said, do you lot feel Arteta is convinced on a single player, people? Because I don't think he is. With what I've just said, please let me know if you believe such. Like you've said, Saka and Tierney, the only players who've been consistent under Arteta. Gabriel to an extent. I think Gabriel. I think you got to respect Gabriel a bit, man, and stop the to extent business. He fully has been consistent. Really and truly. Big up Mr. Adlib. We've got another member. It means a lot, man. It means a lot. I'm getting quite pissed off because it's not giving you lot the 30 badges. It's giving you lot the YouTube ones. It's annoying me. Probably had some little DG Nation badges and things like that made for you lot. It is what it is. It's quite sad. Why would anyone want to play for the Spanish Neil Warnock? This wasn't said last season, so I guess it's down to Arteta to prove you wrong in that regards, my guy. Has he, statistically? I think he's convinced on Tierney, but even Tierney is shackling. Like, I don't mind frequently playing Tierney as part of a back three, but I think Tierney right now he's playing like he needs to go back to basics, go back to left wing back and do his thing from there, and then obviously we'll change things. Like I said in the Villa game, I don't know more than Arteta, but I was of the thinking not Saka, apologies. Tierney goes back to left wing back. Obviously, you bring in a Gabriel. You do what you need to do with the defense. I thought David Luiz and Xhaka would come in. We'd have a bit more on the ball. Not that I'm happy to say David Luiz and Xhaka are probably two of our most creative, or look to try and be creative in the game, people. I think he kind of messed up in that regards. So yeah, I don't think there's a single player Arteta is fully convinced on. On that note, though, as well, people, I wanted to speak about something else. I wanted to speak about Gunnosaurus. As you lot have seen by Arsenal's tweets, Gunnosaurus is back. Gunnosaurus is back, and it's nice to see. Apparently, it'll be it won't be the same person. It'll be done by 3 different people, because Jerry Guy, as you lot know, the man who's been doing it for a number of years, has been unable to agree a sort of schedule to come back on a part-time basis. I don't know if that's down to Arsenal or him. Either way, I know it's sad that a man that was, you know, we wouldn't be talking about this if it wasn't for COVID. He'd still be doing it. A man that's missed his own brother's wedding. No one told him to do that, but it shows his commitment to the club. He missed his own brother's wedding, and he's acted with integrity throughout his time at Arsenal. And them sort of man there are part of the furniture. They're what football's about. They're, you know, why we do this. They're the people that are the real heartbeat of the team, not the executives at the top. So to see him gone is upsetting. You know, he's done it for 27 years. I'm 25. He's done it more years than I've been alive, people. You know, 3 decades, well, nearly 3 decades, and it's sad to see, people, really and truly. And his dad, his son, I believe, offered a segment over the weekend, and I'm going to read it. Time for some clarity. Time for some clarity and closure. My dad loyally served Arsenal in the much loved Gunnosaurus, his alter ego, for 27 years, voluntarily for the first 14, helping to create a character mascot that is hugely recognized across the football world and beyond. In response to the pandemic, Arsenal decided they would include the role of Gunnosaurus as part of their cost-cutting redundancy exercise, owing to the lack of match day and community opportunities. Understandably so, as it wasn't a full-time role anymore. But Gunnar wasn't about to become extinct, just simply lose his familiar heart and soul. Unfortunately, Arsenal were unable to find a suitable way to include my dad in their new normal, in brackets, part-time plans, or even offer him the chance to hand over his legacy. Perhaps they see him as an extinct dinosaur after all. And that's why I always tell players, that's why I tell players and whatnot, or say it, you owe the club nothing. Because when, like you see with players when they're retired, like you see with people like himself, who've done this role for free for 14 years, done it for 27 years, you know, the club are going to spit you up and chew you up and say thanks for your service. They'll pat you on the back. They might give you a nice little warming present and then F off. You know, a man that's done this for time, how Arsenal cannot allow him. And again, I don't know everything, so there's there's 3 sides to every story. But I don't know, like I said, I don't know it, but it doesn't sound nice, you know. There's been a big song and dance. You've not given him a chance to come back in a part-time role. You've not allowed him to pick his role. He's been here for a number of years. It's sad. And for me, since Arsene Wenger's left, you know, it's annoying, because Arsenal, we always bang on about a touch of class and doing things differently and doing things our way and the Arsenal way and the rest of it, you know. But is it really? We keep showing that we're losing this touch of class week in, week out, and to treat someone like this, like that, is sad, people, you know. Like I said, voluntarily for the first 14 years. Only God knows the amount of commitments he missed out and the amount of life experiences he lost out on because of this role for 27 years. Now, let's not get it twisted. He chose to do that. He wanted to do that. He wanted to do it. And the club kind of owe nothing in that. When they say they're done, they're done. But we're meant to look after our own. And you know, this has been brushed under the carpet, really. Yeah, the Gunnosaurus is back, but forget the person. I mean, the costume, and focus on the person. It's quite sad that he's not even been able to find a way to come back in a part-time role. This tells me that the club, you know, are not acting with class. And he went on to say, to act with class is an Arsenal value that I remember well from my time working at the club, and my dad certainly honoured that. However, I don't feel this was reciprocated in how his journey ended. And no, it wasn't. It's not with this. It's not with the way Ozil's been doing stuff, you know, with how we've treated Ozil, and we've leaked stuff. We're doing many things that hasn't been like that. And he said, all this to say, this unique and privileged job has given the family and fans alike many great memories, and all things do eventually come to an end. I'd like to thank George Allen for setting up the GoFundMe page, and Mesut Ozil and hundreds of Arsenal fans who sent thoughtful messages and donations. I know this support means so much to my dad, but it's never about money. It's about my dad's loyalty and memories for 27 fond years of Gunnosaurus. All funds received will be donated to charities close to my dad's heart. And that's, you know, that's one beneficial thing, you know. His dad's going to obviously donate it to charities where people can be helped and whatnot. For me, it's sad, man. It's sad. Like you said, we're meant to be a touch of class. I don't see this touch of class, you know. And who knows? There's probably untold stories we haven't been able to speak about and things like that. It's quite sad. Bro, link to join as a member. It should be under this video. I don't know how I'd provide a link. Literally, there should be a join tab or something like that. People, if there is a link, I beg one or someone. I beg you lot, bust that to them, man. Are you going to be on Rance's channel anymore? Of course I'm going to be on Rance's channel. I've just been extremely busy at the moment. I'll be back. I'm going to be back next Thursday for the, you know, when me, him and Matisse talk about things. Big up Hamid, he's locked in. You know, like you said, oh, Morris, good news. Big up everybody locked in. Please make sure you're hitting the like button, people. Let's go, let's go, let's go. So yeah, man, it is a bit upsetting, a bit. It's putting it nicely. I sympathize with Jerry Guy and anyone who's lost their role. And, you know, who are they gonna, the three new people or whoever they are or whatever, is Gunnosaurus gonna lose its soul? Because let's be serious. You know, Jerry Guy, through doing it for a number of years, he was able to make that role his own. He was able to, you know, do certain mannerisms. Sure, you'll have the dinosaur bouncing around and it's good for the fans, but are we necessarily going to change anything? Are we going to learn anything? And it's quite harsh in that regards, people, really. So there's that. Is what it is, man. Is there any other Arsenal news? What I was going to do, people, I was here to speak about Jack Grealish, as I've said. The fact that I don't know if Arteta necessarily rates a single player. I wanted to speak about the Gunnosaurus thing, but I also wanted to speak about I was going to go on Arsenal.com, go through all the players and grade them on their season so far, people. So we might as well do exactly that. You know, if we look at Leno for the season, I'd give him a 5. He's made 2 mistakes. He's looked very shaky, but I don't think he's been the worst. I do think he's had games where we've lost and it's not been down to him. So I'm going to give Leno a 5 for the season so far, people. Runnison, I'm going to give an NA because you haven't played enough. The same goes for Matt Macy. Hector Bellerin, I'd give a 6. Because I think his form has been up and down, and I'm not convinced. And, you know, he plays well against United, plays poor against Aston Villa, but generally he's done all right this season since he started, and he is up there for assists by Arsenal players. For Arsenal standards, it's not good enough. Like I said, you know, for me personally, Bellerin is playing at a 4, but when I remove my own agenda and my own things to the side, I think giving Bellerin a 6 is about fair, but it needs to be better. Kieran Tierney, I give a 7. You know, last couple of games, well, last game against Villa, he looked a bit shaky, but he's still playing consistent. Saliba, I give an NA. It's not his fault, but he's not playing. Socrates hasn't featured and he's not a thing. Gabriel, I'm going to give him a 9. I'm going to purely not give him a 10 because collectively as a team, we've been poor. And to a degree, you know, Gabriel's got to shoulder some of that blame. We're all in this together. But he hasn't personally been responsible for anything. And he's played quite well and adjusted to life very well. We need to be careful with drawing conclusions on Gabriel. He's only a couple of months into a 5 years or so deal at Arsenal. But, you know, hopefully he starts as he means to go on. So I'll give him a 9. Rob Holding, I'll give him a 5. You know, yeah, I'll give him a 5. I think Holding's been all right. He only looked really, really dead against Villa. He looked a bit so-so against Liverpool, but I think he's done all right since he's been reintegrated into the side and prevented from leaving. So I'll give him a 5. Cedric, NA, you know, you just haven't played. And when you have played like in the Europa, you haven't looked good enough. Mustafi, and NA. Chambers, and NA. Marie, and NA. Bearman are not relevant. David Luiz, a 5. Kolasinac, a 4, a 3 to be fair. Kolasinac has been dead in the small opportunities he's been given. Bukayo Saka, I'm going to give you a 9 like Gabriel because you've been consistent. Ceballos, I'm giving you a 4. Ozils, and NA. Maitland-Niles, I'll give you a 5. You haven't been involved too much. Partey, based on the fact you ain't played too tough, I'm going to give you a 7. It would be a 5, but I'm 2 brownie points for bossing Paul Pogba. El Nene, you've got to give El Nene an 8. He's done very well, very well. Joe Willock, I'm going to give him a 7 based on the Europa League. He's done quite well in that regards. Smith Rowe's not been a thing. Xhaka just about gets a 5. Lacazette gets a 3. You know, in fact, I'll give Lacazette a 4 because at the end of the day, he's been dead, but he's still top goal scorer. I allow him. In fact, now it's a 3. Willian, you get a 2 because I don't know what Willian's bringing to the table. He's played 10 times now. He's got 2 assists. Really he's not, you know, it's only been in 1 game against Fulham. He's not done well enough. So I give Willian a 2. I give Lacazette a 3, even though shout out to him for being top goal scorer. Aubameyang also gets a 3. Hasn't been the Aubameyang we've wanted. I'll give Pepe a 4 because I don't think he's been as dead as the names I've said before. And I think one excuse I can give him, he ain't been integrated too tough into the team. So he gets a 4. Reece Nelson, I'll give a 4. He hasn't really been able to feature. He's been injured. Eddie, I'll give a 4. You've been underwhelming. Martinelli, you've not been involved. And obviously that it is what it is in that regard. So not too many good performers. Like you said, Willian, you know, it's a 2. And that's what I was thinking, man. I was thinking he's our top goal scorer. So should I allow him a bit and boost it up to a 4? But then I thought, you know what? Lacazette ain't been good enough, man. Come on, my guy. I hope you're doing good and whatnot. Mustafi linked to Barcelona. Could never. Mustafi could never be linked to Barcelona. Let me type in Mustafi's name. So I don't see nothing saying Mustafi to Barcelona, but if they want him, come and take him in January, man. For Mustafi, obviously, if this is true and you're not making it up, you know, for Mustafi, he's laughing. He needs to go and get that. He needs to go and get that. You know, Barcelona is a massive club, whether they're in, you know, it's not the Barcelona, it's probably the worst Barcelona, how it's run, how it's playing since I've been alive or can remember of recent years, of recent years. So it is what it is, but you know, he should look to go to this Barcelona. You know, Barcelona is a team to tell your grandkids you play for. You're playing with Messi, provided he's still there. It's a big club. There's many reasons to go there and do that, man. But and obviously it means we get a player off the wage book. It is what it is, man. I would like to see that happen. True say they did sign for Marlon, so they might do it. Man said to clean their toilets. That's deep, man. Shout out to Mustafi. It'll be obviously he's got a young family as well. It'll be a good, interesting, you know, adventure for his young family and a good experiment because you know he's lived in Germany. Well, himself, he's lived in Germany, but he's lived in Italy, he's lived in England, he's lived in Spain. You know, a return to Spain could actually appeal to him. You know, he's probably his happiest period, or maybe not his happiest period, but the season, well, the years he kind of got the most ratings from the football world was as a result of being at Valencia in Spain. So it's a way of life he's probably familiar to. So while I think it's all was, my guy, you know, it's something you could probably explore. Is what it is. Back to the ratings, people are saying 5 for Leno is what it is. You know, Bellerin can't give you 10 consistent games, my guy Neil. I agree, man. And that's why I've tried to remove what I feel about Bellerin and comment. And even a 5, I feel it should be lower than a 5, like I said, but it is what it is. Do I use StreamYard? Yeah, I am. If Robertson's injured, then Liverpool can't buy a break, man. That's sad. Sad. And I think personally, the Premier League have to either pattern up the fixture schedule or allow 5 subs because it's a byproduct. It's not a coincidence. The players had a poor preseason, you know. Games are coming thick and fast. They've got internationals and all these games twice a week. It's any byproduct that these guys are breaking down with thighs and hamstring injuries. It's no coincidence, and it's going to keep happening. And it further confirms players are guinea pigs. They don't care about their health in the same way they don't care about us fans' financial pockets. Big up all the fans, obviously, because the Premier League knew they had to pattern up and not charge the fans any money for tickets and for games anymore in that regards. I was going to speak about it in my podcast, but I guess we might as well quickly speak about the Premier League pay-per-view. I want to see exactly what they've got to say. We'll get onto that in a second, people. But if Robertson's injured, Liverpool can't buy any luck at this moment in time, and it's sad. But you know, these things happen. 9 times out of 10, when you're trying to win a league title, there are injuries, and it's going to really test that Liverpool team and really test Jurgen Klopp. And like I said, points wise, it might not look like it, and it might not be the most glamorous. But for me, at this moment in time, I won't say it's more impressive, but for want of better phrases, I'd say it's more impressive that Liverpool win the league title, assuming they did win it this year versus last, purely because of the injuries that are happening. You know, I'd say. Big up Jordan, it means a lot, man. Like Hamid said, come on, get the likes up. Let's get this to 100 likes, man. Come on. I hope big things are coming, and I'm consistently going to review the memberships and look to add things that are beneficial, take things out that aren't necessarily working, and things like that, my guy. I'm always going to look to improve the thing for you guys. It is what it is in that regard. See, Lacazette gets a 3, Oba gets a 4. Yeah, Oba gets a 4. I agree wholeheartedly. You know, nah, man. Let's be fair. Let's keep a bit of balance. I think a 3 is just about right for Lacazette. He's been poor. He didn't score against Manchester United, but he did do a good pressing job there. You know, he has scored against Liverpool in a big game. He is our top goal scorer. Those are the luxuries I'm going to afford him. That being said, like I said, my guy, Lacazette's been poor. The general play, the pressing consistently, all of these luxuries that Lacazette was afforded when people weren't necessarily looking at the lack of goals, I don't think a lot of it stands. So I think a 3 is about right. I think the only one I'm not really impressed with is Willian. I think Willian has been dog shit, pardon my language, and I want to be wrong. You know, I think Willian could be a competent signing for us. You know, I'd like to see him in the 10. Don't think it's going to happen. I would have thought Willian would have been a bit more of a danger for oppositions, but it's like he's playing against us at this moment. Willian's probably the one player I'm least impressed with. You know, at 32 years of age, 3-year deal is a bit mad. I wouldn't say he's rubbish. I wouldn't say he's overrated because nobody rates him, but he is clearly declining. To be fair, you know, you could say he missed his chances, and I wholeheartedly agree. But whether we win, lose, or draw, it's never just down to one player. You know, we've got to look at how are we thinking, how are we defending. You know, we can never just blame someone, even when there's a one little back pass where it's a mistake and that's the highlight. We win, lose, or draw together. It's never just one person's fault. But while I agree with you, my guy, he does miss easy chances and stuff. I think a 2 is a bit pushing it and whatnot. You know, but each to their own. Is their whole back 4 injured? I can't. I need to type in Robertson. Bloody hell, he is, isn't it? My word, I might do a stream later around all of that stuff, man. I might do a stream later around that still. What are you lot saying in the comments, man? Slightly underrated, unrelated question we've got here. DG, slightly underrated question, but what's your thoughts on Hileb? You know, like he said, he lacked real end product and his numbers are shown with that, but you know, he was a quality player and he was doing the low socks thing before it was cool, and maybe that's where Grealish got the inspiration from. So come to the team, my guy. You know, Hileb was a fantastic player. I do think he's a bit overrated by Arsenal fans in general, but he was a fantastic player for us. Can't begrudge him for going to Barcelona. Turning down Barcelona is tough, but at the same time, the grass isn't always greener. I remember when Arsenal players actually used to have, like, not necessarily the best of times leaving Arsenal. Now it's just getting better and better. And that's what I'm saying. At 32 years of age, I thought Willian was, because of what I saw at Willian at Chelsea, I saw someone that can be a threat, but his decision-making lets him down. He's not even doing that, you know. He's not troubling in the final third. His set pieces aren't really there. You know, if it worked with Willian, man would have been saying, yeah, this is what it's about. Fantastic use of using our good relations with agents and things like that. It hasn't worked, so we're not saying that, people. We're not saying that. It's as simple as that. We're not saying that. That's one thing with Lacazette for me, the fitness. He hasn't looked fit. I know he's been carrying injuries, but he's looked like he's not looking as fit as he used to fit. He's looking a bit immobile. He's lost a yard of pace. You know, he's evidently declining and getting worse, man. Is what it is. To be fair, I don't want to start agendas, but I swear, didn't an ex-Arsenal medical staff member go to Liverpool in the season? In the end in the season end. Are we surprised? Again, I don't know that to be true. I don't think we're going to finish above Leicester. Leicester have a better squad than us. You know, they've got a team that's been better coached than us. You know, they've got a better way of playing. They're more consistent than us. Saying that, they did lose they didn't lose back-to-back games, but they didn't have the best of form going into the game against us. Forgive me if I'm wrong. And we went and got smashed. So yeah, man, we can't finish ahead of Leicester based on how we're playing as well. I wouldn't mind Reece Nelson on the left. You know, I've been on that case, my guy. You know, I think he could, but there's got to be a reason as to why Aubameyang is on the left and he won't go with Saka there. He won't go with Pepe there, if anything, and he won't go with Nelson there. You know, for me, Reece Nelson, if he stays fit, he should be getting opportunities because Willian is playing poor. Pepe is not being rated. A lot of people, when we talk about Willian, it kind of descends into Willian or Pepe. I don't care about all of that. You know, I would like Pepe to get some more opportunities as poor as he's been. I don't necessarily rate Pepe the best in the world, but, you know, what could he do with Willian's chances? If he doesn't take them, fair play. I wouldn't mind Nelson getting a look in, you know. And if Nelson doesn't take his chances, we review the same thing. I don't really know, man. Yeah, nobody was gassed about Willian. Nobody. We just thought we just definitely thought at worst he's going to be better than what he is right now. I hope Burnley go down. He's not fit. I think Smith Rowe is going on loan personally in January. I don't know that. I don't know anyone connected with the club, but I just think the club will loan him out in January. I hope it's not the case. Thoughts on Cesc Fabregas's comments about Arsenal and Arteta? I've only seen Cesc Fabregas talking about Jack Wilshere, my guy. And if he's talking about Jack Wilshere, it's same old, same old. I don't really... You know, we know Jack Wilshere could have played for big boy clubs. We know we had all the ability. We know he's been affected by injury. The only thing I can see is that Cesc Fabregas has named Xhaka among his top 5 players at Arsenal. So let me see what he said. Cesc Fabregas has given Xhaka a boost by naming, and he had a good performance against Spain for what it's worth, people. But apparently... Cesc Fabregas is giving Xhaka a boost by naming him among the top 5 top players at his former club, Arsenal. He said, listen, it's a transition period. Mikel has his ideas, but it takes time. The problem for coaches nowadays is you don't have time. You lose 3 games, everybody's asking for your head. And I agree, Arteta does need time, but at the same time, you know, I'm not calling for him to be sacked. You know, I have my question marks over him. I have certain confidences about him and certain doubts, but you know, we are allowed to criticize. We are allowed to say, okay, we haven't seen this. I don't think he's had enough time to make his mark. Clearly, you know, we need to get man off, we need to bring man on. There are things above his control, but I do think Arteta has had long enough to implement a way of playing or show us building blocks, because from the get-go he showed us that defensively last season, and I'm sure he even played a bit more attackingly last season. We were saying there was a lack of play and stuff, and granted the primary objective was to improve us defensively, but I don't think we had these issues to the level we are having them now this year, really and truly. You know, maybe it was a feel-good factor, you know, when a new manager comes in, like with Emery, like to a degree with Lumberg, like under Arteta, there's a small boost in performance. But I think Arteta had long enough to show us more building blocks into what he wants this team to reflect as. And if he hasn't, you know, if he hasn't, and we're saying he hasn't and he still needs time, then it is a bit worrying. Or also the flip side of this is his team. You know, we always talk about 1-0 to the Arsenal. Many fans my age and younger can't refer to George Graham in days like that. What if that's of the use he's going with? Clearly, I don't think that's sustainable, because we're not good enough defensively. The way the Premier League is now, yeah, a couple of games you can shut up shop and ride your luck and stuff. But for a 38-game period, we cannot go into big and small games trying to just defend, focused on defending. We need to show a bit more. I do think there could have been a bit more clarity over how he sees players and what he wants to use as players. I do think there could have been a bit more sort of visually what he wants this team to be made of. I don't think it should have been perfect, but we should have seen more building blocks sort of thing. But I agree, like he said, I know it's very, very difficult because you want to implement your ideas and it's a process. Sometimes it's difficult because football is moving very quickly. Everybody wants to win. There's pressure from the boards, from the fans, from the players. You're on spot every day. And to be fair, I agree, but it's not exactly been losing 3 games, you know. Apart from the Fulham game, fans have been questioning, yo, what's going on, this and that. It's only when we lose that people really want to have this take and think about stuff. When we get away with it, like against Leicester in the Carling Cup, or against West Ham, or against Sheffield, we focus on several other things and whatnot. We're not questioning why did we have to turn it around in the second half against Sheffield, and Bellerin looked a dramatically better player in the second half than the first, and suddenly El Nene, Willian, Aubameyang, everyone's doing one-touch passing. You know, we have been here long enough. He also went on to say he's trying to find his team. They have Dani Ceballos, they have Xhaka. Now they've added Partey from Atletico, who's a very good player as well. They have Willian, they have Aubameyang, top players. That's 100% for sure. So I don't think Cesc Fabregas was necessarily naming who he thinks the top 5. I think he was offering his thoughts in general and named these players. I want to see a bit more from Ceballos. I think Ceballos has hidden his shell this season a bit, and I think there's more to come from him. And I want to see a bit more prolonged form. Show me that form you showed me towards the tail end of last season. But why has it dropped off there? You know, Pepe, he had a fantastic end to the start of the season, and he's had a so-so start to this year. Underwhelming, a poor start. Why has that happened? You know, Jacques, apologies, people. What's all that about? That scared me, man. Jesus, why is it? What's all these pop-ups? But like I was saying, there's got to be a reason as to why these players haven't hit off, and Arteta has to shoulder some of the blame. I don't think it's all Arteta's fault or all the players. I think the players have got to show more bravery. The players have got to want to be difference makers. In the same way you saw Barkley, Watkins and McGinn, and obviously the main man Jack Grealish, all in their own individual ways. The players have got to recognize that a game isn't going our way and act accordingly. You know, it's like a game of football's a game of boxing. Every boxer's got a way of fighting their opponent. You know, if they're a southpaw, lean this side, you know, get some jabs in, don't, you know, stay near the ring, near the ropes, all of these things before the fight. When the fight happens, he bangs in your face and he drops, everything goes out of the window, and our players have to be able to react to that. So does the manager, but the players have to. You know, I'd see players hiding into shells, players passing the responsibility, players passing the buck. Very few players in this Arsenal team, for me, if it's not Partey in his own little way, Tierney in his own little way, Saka in his own little way, you know, Gabriel now as well. Historically, Aubameyang, not this season. Not too many players want to be difference makers. I'm not saying they want to lose, but you've got to want to do it. And that's one. Like I don't want to go back to Jack Grealish, but that's why, even though we can't get him, when I was just humoring you guys speaking about Jack Grealish, people, that's one reason as to why I like Jack Grealish. the ability, the technical quality, his versatility, they're all appealing. But it's the mentality. Grealish, I can tell if a game's not going a certain sort of way, he's going to want to take the game by the balls. Not too many men at Arsenal want to do that. I sympathise with the players because to a degree, you're doing what the manager's telling you. And I do think in the final third, we're a bit mechanical. We're just relying on individual brilliance if they can do that. And I think that's not really being implemented. And I think that's why people are scrutinising the attacking sense, is because we might not have the best attack in the world, but Pepe, Aubameyang, Lacazette, it's enough to strike a bit of fear into teams in the Premier League and definitely present more problems than we've been seeing game in, game out, which is reflected by the lack of shots. And I can't speak for anyone. And I said we can't draw assurances just because he's been under Pep Guardiola. But I do think all of us felt creativity was a given. Like I said, a blind man could see last season, you're not going to be able to bring in a creative man. There isn't too much you could do. We saw, all right, cool, he's using Ozil, we're putting good moves together, but the priority is defending. So I think we might have assumed with us saying, all right, cool, we'll pattern off in the summer, we'll pattern how we attack. We thought it was a given. So we were prepared to focus on defending. And we might have thought, with him coming from Barcelona, his academy, obviously, he's played for Arsenal and been managed by Arsene Wenger. He's worked under Pep. He's Spanish as well. We thought that tiki-taka, one touch, two touch, this sort of things were givens, and we're being shown it's not, because we do have players that can play a bit better. Like, I don't necessarily rate Xhaka. I don't necessarily am the biggest fan of Ceballos or whatever, but we do have players to present more problems to teams. We should be creating more chances. We should be shooting more. The players have got to take responsibility, but it's also the manager. Tactically, we're not seeing anything to say we're coaching movement and individual bits of play and enabling freedom. That's why I say, if your buzz like Aouar, Grealish on the topic of this vid, if any of these men come in, I'm going to be gassed. It's going to help us, but it's not going to fix us, because we're not, when they get thrown into, let's just say any one of them sign for us, when they're on possession, in possession, and there's no movement, and the other team's doing low block, what happens now? We're going to say the same thing historically we said when Mesut Ozil was here in Alexis. Do you get it, people? We're going to say the same thing. A new personnel would change things, but players have got to have the confidence to play these passes, and there needs to be movement. There's not enough movement. When you're static off the ball, you're making the job easier. Is there any coincidence you hardly see back four, back five, whatever, of opposition teams really tested at Arsenal? Because we do not stretch them. If you don't stretch them, you're allowing them to keep their line and hold their shape. You hold their shape, they're harder to break down. And then on top of that, there's no movement, and we're doing sideways passes. We're setting up and we're playing. We're playing against ourselves. Arguably, you could say it's not even a football match. It's just 22 players trying to, Leno to concede a goal. I'm not saying the players are conceding on goals and stuff, but we're setting up where we're defeating ourselves before the opponent has to do anything. I'm not taking anything away from Brendan Rodgers' performance for Leicester, Brendan Rodgers' management, and Leicester's collective performance at the Emirates. Neither am I doing the same for Dean Smith and Aston Villa. We can wax lyrical about their players collectively, individually, blah, blah, blah. And like I said, take nothing away. I'm not going to say we're the reason we lost that game, but we are the reason. Way before you talk about how good the other team were and tactically and individually, we were architects in our own demise. Against Villa, we never started well. Against Leicester, we didn't seize it and cut them open. And in the second half, Arteta and the boys didn't recognise the game was coming a bit open. Leicester were getting a bit more in them. Jamie Vardy in the last two games at the Emirates has scored near enough an identical goal because he's not being picked up, people. We're not learning from our mistakes. These players talk the talk and they don't walk it. And I'm beginning to believe the same about the manager. I believe wholeheartedly in Arteta, but when you haven't done several things in an attacking sense, when you haven't brought in a next man, and I'm not seeing anything from a coaching sense, you're not helping yourself, people. I still believe in Arteta. I still think he can change things, but and I want him to, because I don't want this constant turnaround. I don't want us to become a club where we're changing things. I do think I'm not going to say a lot of comments in relation to Arteta are reactionary because they've been there, but I feel a lot of conclusions are being drawn in a reactionary manner, especially because this man won the FA Cup. Let's not act like he can't manage this team. If we go down the road and he shows he's not the man, it is what it is. But let's not act like he hasn't got ability. He's won an FA Cup. He has presented some good opportunities for Arsenal. He has shown us some good. There are some concerns. What will be Arteta's success or failure now is if he recognizes very quickly, what I've done right and wrong. Learn from your failures and learn from them fast, because he's learning on the job. And it doesn't appear right now he's learning fast enough from his own mistakes. As a manager, of course, you've got to be stubborn and things like that. But it is what it is in that regards, man. We'll have to see, man. We really have to see. That was a good one, man. And you got me speaking for time about that. I've been missing all of you guys' questions, people. I apologize. You said, do you think we had any chance to move on Aubameyang in the summer? If not, and if so, when do we start to regret not doing that? Well, you can't regret it until you bring in the next man. You could say we could have sold him, but we'd be stuck with Lacazette. You know, we wasn't probably going to go for a striker. We wasn't going to create more problems before bringing in a centre half or bringing in a Partey. Maybe in hindsight, if Aubameyang doesn't get back to scoring, we might have to consider a world where he's not scoring. But nobody was saying that at the start of the year. Move him on and bring in who? To replace Aubameyang's goals immediately, you're going to need to pay a certain amount of money. And we're not going to do that. To which we're going to have to buy a striker that might have the potential to be up there one day, but isn't quite there. Fans are not, as much as fans talk about these things, they're not going to apply logic and think, all right, cool, this guy's developing. They're just going to blast the decision of selling Aubameyang. So I don't necessarily agree with that one there, but maybe in hindsight, you know, if he doesn't get scoring, it doesn't look good, man. It is what it is in that regards. I would take Cesc Fabregas to return in a coaching capacity. I'd like to see him and Jack Wilshere return in relation to Santi as well, but it is what it is, man. What else have you lot got? How, bro? That's a difficult one, man. Let me drink this green tea quick. It's getting cold. That's the thing, man. I think he's definitely more of an 8, but I think Ceballos' problems are, I don't know. He's not improving his intelligence. I like that he wants the ball and he plays, but I don't think he's playing in areas that are going to damage the team. I think he does things in too many touches. If he can learn to do things in less touches, you know, he would develop a lot more. I would like to see greater maturity in his play. He doesn't look dramatically a better player than the man I saw playing for Betis and on a period playing for Madrid. You know, it's one of those things. You know, he might not be the man, you know, he might not. And then we review it, you know, if he's not the man, so be it. If he is the man, it is what it is. Let's just see what happens, sort of thing. I won't say when we don't keep owners accountable. We all know Kroenkes need to be moved on, my guys. So I don't know, man. I don't know for that. I'm tired of seeing us not progress as much as we were projected to as well, my guy. But in that regards, it firmly is what it is, you know, like it really is what it is. So we'll have to see what happens, man. I wonder what's gonna happen today between England and Belgium, man. Really, you know, didn't England beat Belgium the other day, man? It's down for the club, man. It's down for the club. I wouldn't mind Dembele. I wouldn't mind Edouard equally. I think we still need a plan B striker, but I'd rather try find a goal scoring winger, you know. Let scouts do their job. Put a Aubameyang through the middle, get a goal scoring winger. You know, can we find a cut price even striker that can be a plan B? You know, I think you need a plan B striker in the team. To which, yeah, you might need to look for a striker. But I just like scouts to do their job, or stat DNA as we're talking about, man. Pardon me. Learn from his mistakes quickly, sort of thing. You know, this is shown, and for Arteta, it's shown the good and bad because, like I said, with him, he was in the honeymoon period. He could do no wrong. I've been telling you about these things we're talking about. Suddenly, it's clicked now. So I just hope he's taken this how do you call it, international break period, just relaxed himself, just got back to basics, and then he can move forward, man. Learn, like I said, learn from your mistakes and learn from them fast, because a mistake made once, more than once, is a choice. Like even Gabriel, I like Gabriel, but one thing I've noticed in his play, and you're going to see it, that underhit back pass that he's got away with at times, one day it's going to happen and it's going to lead to a goal, you know. So we need to learn, man. Bro, at this, I can't. When you say fear, what do you mean fear, man? Because it's like, I hear you and I agree with that, but at the same time, it is what it is. Like, what can I as a fan do, innit? The club don't want to be serious like that, so it is what it is. But when you see Wolves' intent, when you obviously see what Leicester have done, when you see what Everton are trying to do, of course, in a couple of years, they hit it right. There's more pressure. You know, it seems like Arsenal are just happy to be here, you know, especially because the Premier League has become more of a franchise. I don't watch NBA frequently to know, but you know, it feels like at NBA, you know, every year there's a different team, and it feels like Arsenal is a franchise thing now. And it's just the randomness of the Premier League, and we're prepared to accept that. This team, it's not life or death if we don't get into the Champions League. We talk about how it would free up our transfers. We talk about how, you know, we need to be back, but I don't think everyone from top to bottom's burning desire is to be back in the Champions League. I actually feel only Arteta and the players. I don't feel people above, because if you did, and you knew, you know you want to get back in Europe, there's no way you look. And I know there's COVID and there's the rest of it, yeah. But there's no way you look at this team and you say, I can genuinely see them having a shout for top four, beyond hoping Arteta galvanizes them and they show consistency. You can't really see that, can you? If you're a real owner, like if it's easy for us to say it because we ain't got the money, but if you're an owner and you see Arteta and you know that he's a novice, he's a new manager, you're gonna do everything to help him. You're gonna surround him with the best coaching staff. You're gonna get Partey in early. You're gonna make sure a decision is reached on Saliba very early. If he's not levels right now, loan him out. You know, you're going to put more of an effort to, no matter how hard it is, to removing players off this wage book. You know, you're going to give him better players to work with. You're not going to sign Willian. Yeah, you know, you can look at it and say, yeah, Premier League experience and this and that, knows the league and all that stuff Arteta was actually saying after the Fulham game. But now, look, you get what you pay for. And when you buy cheap, you buy several times, like Arsenal have done with several defenders, like we're probably going to do in the case of Cedric Suarez, like it's looking for Willian. You buy several times over, sort of thing. You would surround him with a lot. And again, I just like to talk about football. I don't like to do this whole finance thing and all of these sort of things. I don't like to do that. But I swear I heard that because of COVID and stuff, you know, what's the thing, people? FFP or whatever is relaxed, teams could spend. Now, obviously, we're affected by COVID as a club as well because of not getting Champions League and COVID. But if you as a real manager, I mean, a real owner, you'd put your own money into this thing. And I heard he put his own money, his own 45 million or something. It's a good propaganda story. You would put your own peas into this, would you not, people? But at the same time, you know, like I said, if you look at it and you say, oh boy, we haven't been able to spend without getting in trouble because we've been failing. I've got my new manager Arteta in his first season. I badly want him to get top four. You know what? Here's 45 million for Partey. Here's some change. Go and try and get Aouar. If you can't get Aouar, I want to see a creative man. You know, you better have 4, 5, 6, 7 targets. Go and bring somebody in. Go and get these players off. You know, have you got everything you want? Okay, cool. Let's try and look for a player that, you know, can kind of cause more problems at Arsenal and disrupt the sort of thing and make everybody raise their game. You're not, these men are not ambitious owners. They don't. When you look at Roman Abramovich, that's what I'm talking about. Whether it, you know, if it doesn't work out for Lampard, he can't blame no one but himself. You want Havertz, they've gone and got it. You want Werner, they've gone and got it. You know, there's probably a couple of other positions. Even Levy, man, get on to Levy, man, get on to Spurs. But, you know, if it doesn't work for Jose Mourinho cannot cry, people. He cannot cry because he's been brought in another striker. They've been saying for time they need someone to take the burden off Kane. You know, so there's that squad player in the Brazilian lad, forgot his name. Bale, whether it works for Bale or not, that lifts the club. That is a statement. That's a signing that isn't going to make them money beyond shirt sellings. It's a costly one. They've done that. They've obviously brought in Højbjerg, who, for me, I said he was going to be a big signing, and he's been a good one for them. You know, they've adjusted the areas they've needed to go through and things like that. You know, you even look at Leicester. They've got Siyunchu, they've got Fofana, they've got players that are assets and can be resold and whatnot, people. So you look at other owners, you look at Everton as well, whether it works out for Everton and Carlo, they've got a certain, why would Carlo Ancelotti choose Everton ahead of us, with all due respect to Everton? Because Everton have told him their plans and backed their chat. Arsenal have been there going, oh, they might not be the peas for this and that. Do you know how many managers probably wanted the Arsenal job or were open to listening? And then when they got beyond the prestige of the club and got into finances and actual dealings, they said, fuck that, I'm not on that. Look how he's been brought in. You know, to go to the next level, Everton need a couple more man. They've brought in James, you know, they've brought in Allen, who for me is one of the best signings in the league. Not saying James and Decore haven't, but you know, I'm a tenacious fullback. I like what Allen's given me. You know, it reminds me a bit of Torreira. You know, bad boy signings like such. You know, obviously they're not all the way there yet, but you get the point. Wolves, you know, every year they're trying to do a thing for Nuno, trying to give him stuff. Even Leicester, you know, they're getting some big players. Fofana, Senji Zunda, they're getting a couple little guys, you know, like that. We're not moving serious, you know. We're the Knicks. I know that's a violation, even though I'm not the biggest fan. It is worrying, but let's be serious. We weren't saying that, you know. Saka's going from strength to strength. David Luiz, Mustafi, these lot, they showed their levels, you know. But he has, you know, even El Nene, these guys are going through form and stuff, but we have to keep balance. He has. Maybe not to the scale you want, but it is what it is. See, yeah, bro. He's like, there might not be peas, you know. Go downstairs and go and get a fiver off Edu and all of this. It just screams bare man chipping in a fiver for an 8 ball, bro. That's the thing Arsenal are on, fam. It's bare man are going halves or benders and them things there, you know. Where the other managers, they're saying, you know what, go and get a Z, go and get a half, go and get a 9 bar, break it down into bits and go and do your thing. We're not moving serious. We're not, and that's one thing I hate. Whether I look at the top of the Premier League or the bottom, I see ambition. Man, don't see ambition. As like I said, I would like everybody. I want Arsenal to be Premier League winners. I want to win everything. I want to play the best football. I want to have the best players. I want to do all of that. But you know, none of that's a given. I just want us to have the ambition to go through that. And I just look at my team. I don't really have hope. You know, I did for a bit under Arteta, and he's not moving 30 right now. But I don't really have hope. Like I look at our team. I don't have consistent hope in our boys. There's nothing to really buy into beyond the fact of I love this club and, you know, I want to win and these things. There's nothing to buy into. Like, you know, Wolves and Leicester, they're trying to break into the top 6. Everton are trying to get Champions League. You know, the other teams are trying to do other things. What is our ambition? We say we want top 4. We're not making a meal of it because when we're losing, we're still doing the same old bullshit game in, game out. You know, we're not bringing in, man. We're still talking about signing the centre half. We're still talking about midfield. And like I told you on deadline day, take nothing away from the signing of Partey, but the club did a little smart thing. Clearly, they knew they was getting Partey. That's one thing I give Arsenal. You know, they know when they're going to get someone. They've clearly done all the due diligence with Partey and his advisors and dotted I's and crossed T's and said, we're going to activate your release clause. Then all summer, we've probably tried to say, you know what, we'll give you Torreira. We'll give you, give us Partey so we could save a bit of bread and do other things. And then we probably tried to play, call their bluff and say, yo, we've got other targets, this, that, and the other. We're not going for Partey. Then on the last day of the summer, you know, is there any surprise? We've just said, you know what, take the 45 million. We've tried to play Polka. It did not bang. And then because we didn't think we was getting anyone else in addition to Gabriel, we're happy. And, you know, you're seeing all it's time to Partey and all the plays on his last name and stuff is great. But it takes away from the fact of you needed a creative man. That's why I question our ambition. It would have been lovely to have Aouar or have Szoboszlai, but forget the names and focus on the specific midfield role. Again, if you want to be top 4, if you have ambition to get top 4, you're going to fight tooth and nail to bring that man in, whoever it is. So to me, to see that, okay, cool. If you just want our one, he's the first choice target and stuff. I get that. It's the first choice or none. But football, you know, we're not Barcelona. We're not Real Madrid. Players are going to want to leave our club. So I don't care who leaves, but you have to be able to replace, man. I want targets, but missing out on your targets is a thing in football. Have you got others? And to me, it shows me we didn't. We were very reactive, you know, even with the Saliba thing. If he's not levels, why not loan him out first and foremost? Instead, you're trying to rush him and all of these things. Reactive in the market. And to a degree, I'll never know whose fault it is, but I have to blame everyone. We know, again, I'm not saying Ozil should be playing and Ozil's the Messiah. Granted, he's not. But I can't blame fans when we're lacking that creative skill set and Mesut Ozil hasn't been given an opportunity. In the same way, Pepe is hella frustrating and Arteta is talking about consistency and all of these things, which makes sense. But, you know, isolated to that, but when you look at Willian, you're looking like a hypocrite. You're contradicting yourself. And for me, I have to blame everyone because you look at it. If I'm Arteta, if I'm the board or whoever, you're freezing out because none of this happened overnight. We must have known the plan is to loan out Saliba. The plan is to try and freeze out Ozil. The plan is to bring in Partey and to try go for Aouar and do other things. None of these things happen overnight. So we need to be proactive. This tells me, you know, we said, okay, cool. There's no evident plan for a creative man. So again, like I said, if you're Stan Kroenke, you say, all right, cool, I don't want Ozil part of this team. I'm going to give you P's or get someone in or give you some P's to do something in that regards. We haven't, you know. For Arteta, he shagged himself because I'm not seeing anything tactically to mitigate against, you know, if we were playing mad creative and Ozil's not there, no fan is going to talk about Ozil because we're showing creativity. You know, in the same way, if Lacazette scoring goals, you know, we'll criticize the Batman and him playing on the left and say maybe go back through the middle, but nobody would have a leg to stand on because Lacazette is doing his job. So, you know, you haven't done anything in a tactical point of view to show us that you're working on anything creative wise. Yeah, you haven't at least covered yourself, covered your back with registering Ozil, and you ain't bring someone in. You know, as poor as our players are and things, can we be surprised that this has been there for Arteta? I know the Ozil thing is above him, but I would have said, listen, if you're not bringing me a creative man, I have to register Ozil because it's my job that's going to get lost. Fans are going to come to me and, you know, Arteta's either been hard done by or he's accepted that or he's considered that and accepted that, to which you have to face the music, you know, because you knew you was using him 10 times because these excuses are not holding any weight, you know. it is what it is in that regards, people. I can't really be surprised. Can't be surprised. I buy into the kids, but the kids need to be surrounded by some experience. You know, we need to allow the kids to. We need the kids to be surrounded by some experience. We need the kid, you know, Bukayo Saka. He week in, week out, he's putting these grown men to shame. You know, some of them are playing like Williams playing like the 19-year-old, Saka's playing like the 32-year-old. It shouldn't be like that. If I'm Saka and it's not going our way, or Reece Nelson or whatever, I should be able to look at man and say, all right, cool, that's my not captain, but that's my captain, that's the leader. Let's move. You can't really see that. The young players need their hands held. And I buy into these players, but they need to be given an opportunity to grow. Not all players are going to make it at Arsenal. Some are going to be squad players. Some are going to do the Saka and Martinelli thing. Some man have to be sold for profit. And we need to do that as well, man. Nah, bro, we have to look at everything. You know, I'm watching football. You know, as much as I think the mentality and everything comes from Kroenke, I can't just sit here and talk Kroenke as much as I want him out. You know, he's not lacing up his boots and playing at the weekend. You know, and that's the thing with Arsenal. You can't. Again, the shepherd, you know, you strike the shepherd and the sheep will follow, sort of thing. So I get that, but I can't just sit here and scream Kroenke. We know our soul up. We know we sold our soul. We know what it is in that regards. But I can't just sit here and keep screaming that, you know. So it is that the players are the one playing. It's not all their fault, but they have to accept it. And it's not all Arteta's fault, but he has to accept it. Again, the one common denominator is Stan Kroenke. There's been many players and not many managers, but different managers and different players. And the one at the top has stayed the same. So I feel you, but you know, I just feel it's a bit out of touch with reality, blaming one singular person, people. Who knows, man? Who knows? He wasn't at Burnley to speak on that. Who knows, man? Potentially. Bro, wish I said so. And that trust the process thing is what pisses me off as well. Like, I trust any process I trust Arteta, but what I'm not going to do is just sit here when I'm seeing things that evidently concern me, things I don't understand, and just aimlessly saying, trust the process, just so maybe in May people can look around and say, I told you so. No, I want to trust the process and comment on things that I don't see, that I'm happy, the things that I don't see and I'm not happy with. You know, I want it to work for Arteta. You know, I want it to work, but if I'm wrong and it doesn't work for Arteta, it is what it is. You know, Arteta's not my guy like that. I care about my club. I want it to work for Arteta because I don't want to become a yo-yo club. If it don't work, we have to move man on. It's simple, bro. It's bare spitting, bro. It's 4 ways on the 8 ball, bro. And you know, one man are trying to, bro. One man's probably trying to shake the draw as well, bro. Like Daniel said, make sure you hit the like button, people. It's 1:45. Good day of racing. Shout out to Lewis Hamilton. I assume I'm not in touch with that at all. Apparently, we're well ahead. Of our summer planning for summer 2021, as we are told by David Ornstein. Now, don't shoot the messenger. He can only go on what he's reporting. But at the same time, if I hear that and I'm still talking about centre half, I'm still speaking about creativity, something concerning, isn't it, my guy? And also, at that regards, that probably means nobody comes in January. So does that mean reintegrating Mesut Ozil? It's probably a vid we have to cut. It's probably one for another vid and one I'll probably attack next week. And on that topic, please make sure you're hitting the like button, people. But also, I need you, man's help, man. I want to make these live streams bang for you a lot more. So I need more. Like, please go on my YouTube community tab. Please give me some subjects to cover, man. I need something, man. Big up yourself, DG. Do you think the board expect to achieve at least top 6? I'd like to imagine so, but I think regardless of the league position, it's about how we're playing. Granted, if we can do a United or Chelsea last year and just get into the top 4, like it saved Ollie's job, you know, he did show some consistency, but it was just simply paper over the cracks. You know, if that happens, it's great, we get top 4, but the problems evidently are still there. Equally, if we finish outside of the top 6, but you know, we're looking better in an attacking sense, we're defending better, and everything we want to see is moving in that direction, but we fall short, then I'll review it. It's all about the manner. It's all about the manner. I'm inclined to believe I won't say this season doesn't matter, but I'm inclined to believe this season doesn't matter because they made him head coach. You know, I don't know when his contract runs out, but there's probably indirect talks of that. So again, obviously, if stuff happens and the fan pressure, things can happen, but I'd be inclined to believe he's still here for a sec still. And this Errol, while I think you're right, and I agree with this is what I'm talking about. You need to attribute the blame to everyone. You need to, okay, what can you be accountable for? What are you and what are you? You know, I do blame the owners personally the most, regardless of the season, because it's different seasons, different man, different players, same old results, and it will always be such. You know, they might not know football, but they've employed people who know everything about football. But then again, you have to surround yourself with advisors, and you never get the presence that the Kroenkes truly care about this club. They might be there at the occasional FA Cup final. You can see what's his name consistently, Roman Abramovich consistently at Chelsea. You see other man consistently, and when you see the way Kroenke acts with NFL to this, it is what it is. But I've said I think we're a family heirloom. I don't think anything's changing at this club unless, you know, the good man upstairs takes people. It is what it is in that regards, man. I don't know, man. I think Arsenal have a pool, because at the same time, why the hell would Thomas Partey join us? Whether it's finances is one thing, but why the hell would he join? You know, finances, London, that's all one thing. But at the same time, there's got to have been a conversation with the manager. There's got to have been a reason for Aubameyang committing his future. You know, I do think he can pull players, but again, if we carry on like this, who is going to want to come here, man? Don't know my guy. Love my guy, Brennan. Come on, like you said, hit the like button, man. 160 people locked in. Big up everyone, man. I don't think it's even a scouting thing. I just think we waste time, bro. When we, you know, you look at a couple of teams, you know, they don't waste time. They take chances, educated chances. We don't do that. And that's why we find ourselves in this position, typically, in my opinion, man. I don't have a clue, man. I don't have a clue, man. Maybe there's something we can do in relation to our practices, but I think it's just one of those things. You know, Emil Smith-Rowe had some injuries, but this one was a shoulder, so it's not exactly the same. Nelson just seems to keep picking up this thing, man. Man said he doesn't know who Ozil is. He probably don't. Probably don't. I bet you Kroenke couldn't even. I bet you Kroenke don't know who Henry is. I bet you, man. It's a bit mad, man. It's a bit mad. Couple more questions, people, before I keep it moving. Big up everybody locked in right now, people. It means the world. 161 likes. Come on. 30 people. Keep getting that up. Keep getting that up. Keep doing your thing. Couple more questions. If there's no other questions, I'm going to keep it moving, people. I can't lie. Let me type in Arsenal, see if there's anything that comes up. It's the same old Jack Grealish stuff. Bentner's been talking. I'm tired of hearing about Bentner. Calvin Phillips hints at Arsenal. Oh, he's probably back for the game. Oh, you don't want to see Calvin Phillips against us, man. I think he's a really good player. Really good player. Certified player. Would love him at Arsenal, man. Really would love it, man. But I can't see it happening, man. You know, I think he was a player that people. I get why people are move a bit mad when players from the Championship are called up, but I personally felt he deserved it, man. He's been very certy, man. You know, I can't really see anything about Arsenal. Just read a touching thing about Calvin Phillips' dad and how he had prison time, how he served prison time throughout this guy's early life, man. You know, he's had a tough life. I thought only 24, and he's been really with it, man. Really with it. Right, he was contacted by the Jamaican FA. I mean, we got Ravel Morrison and Leon Bailey. Calvin Phillips, it could have been this. I knew there was a reason I messed with Calvin Phillips. I didn't even know that until today, man. But there's nothing surrounding Arsenal people at all. You think there's going to be more people from our culture slash backgrounds in Formula One? Hopefully, man. But as you know, myself, unless Hamilton sets up some sponsorships, unless some charities come together and set up some sponsorships, I don't think it can happen unless there's some charities that aimed at helping minorities get into that. It's a madness. You know F1 more than me, so Marcus, you're probably well aware of the financial sacrifice that his dad had to make, remortgaging his house several times and all of these sort of things to make him be able to do all of that stuff. Because as you lot know, it's an expensive sport. So we'll have to see. We lost 3-0, but we have to be quiet about that. Be quiet about that. I want to see it. Diversity is great because for me, Lewis Hamilton, and again, He's just simply a man that followed his dream, and he had a dad and a supportive family brave enough to do such, and his dad sacrificed it. But how many dreams didn't work out like that? You know, he never had that young black face, and I think it's very important to have identifiable faces for people to believe in stuff. You know, Lewis Hamilton never had that black face, but through there might be the next Lewis Hamilton or someone that isn't going to achieve as high as Lewis Hamilton, but they're going to get into the sport because they can see a young black man's face on the TV and think, yo, that can be me. You know, that's why I think you need black managers, you know, because you can see that and think, yo, I could be that one day or whatever. You know, it is what it is, man. Man said trio. I'm not confident necessarily in Edu and Kaya Jurutkin. I'm so with Arteta. You know, it's a 5 out of 10. I've seen some things I like. I've seen some things I don't like. But out of the three, I got the most faith in Arteta. Out of all of them, the jury's still out, though. Simple as that. Thoughts on Martinelli? Does he go straight back in? For you on current form, yes, but we've probably got to afford him the luxury to get back to full fitness and stuff like that. But, you know, Martinelli's a player I want to see play significant football and be involved in significantly. See, so even that, yeah. So unless we see some more people, it's a bit mad. Yo, my guy, louder. I'm not too sure with the colored business. I'm not too sure on the colored business. It is a joke, but I'm not too sure on the colored business. Black, brown, or whatever. I don't know about the colored thing. I'm black all the time, whether I'm cold, happy, or sad. So I mean, I know about that them thing there, brother, but it is what it is. What is your thoughts about Stat DNA? I mean, Edu said we're getting rid of scouts and we're going to use this a bit more. And we did hear it helped when we signed Torreira. We wanted Partey allegedly initially. It didn't work. So it flagged up Torreira. So that's why I'm on, like what I was saying earlier, that's why I'm onto them even more, because, you know, if it didn't, if you slap that in and it doesn't, okay, we don't get Alwa or Szoboszlai, it must bring you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other targets to go for. And we should have been doing our due diligence all season. For me, to go through the last season, even season in a bit, but last season, and to conclude that it's not a dying wish that we bring in a creative man, it's a loss. Why is it either or at Arsenal? I get that the finances, when you go for someone like Alwa and Partey, are going to be stretched. You're either going to have to bring in Alwa or go into Partey. It's one of the two. But any serious club, any other club, any club that wants to be top four or do several things, their owners bringing them both. You know, they're both arguably needed. Arsenal fans were talking about either or. Do we go for the physical presence or someone that can pass the ball? It's a bit mad, man. It's a bit mad. We'll have to see, man. It is a bit mad. We'll have to see. I think he's a very good player, gives us a bit different. Let's let him develop. He could be someone that either progresses to the first team or makes us a bit of money, man. I hope so, bro. He has to be one of the first names on the team sheet. The Wade has said, who would you like in January that we can realistically get out of? Don't know, my guy from JA. I think Szoboszlai is realistic. You just have to join the queue. I would like Yari Vesterstrom, but I think he's injured. I would inquire about Neuhaus. He's a bit different. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a breaking the lines player, even though he can. I would inquire about Gladbach's Neuhaus if worse comes to worse, off the top of my head, people. Not really, my guy. Not really. Let me get one more question in before I keep it moving. One more question. Who's going to be that lucky lad? Wouldn't mind Van der Sar. He's a footballing man. Wouldn't mind Saka in the 10. Ideally, my guy, I want to see him play on the left or the right. By the time Martinelli's back, you know, it could be something. If we don't bring someone in January, it is something to explore, I guess. But in an ideal world, Martinelli plays either on the left or through the middle. In an ideal world, you've got Saka on the left and the right, or on the flanks at a push playing left fullback. I would like to see Martinelli be able to play very well on the right. Because like I said, primarily I want to see him on the left where he likes to play. I think long-term it's him through the middle. But I think a player of his stature, he should be able to affect the game in all front three positions. And the last game, I remember he played right wing. He was quite anonymous. You look at someone like Alexis Sanchez. Yeah, you ask him, he was probably his favorite is playing off that wide left. He became a goal-scoring striker towards the end of his career at Arsenal. And he's obviously played well on the right-hand side. And I don't see why Martinelli couldn't or shouldn't be someone that does that, people. So it is what it is. It is what it is in that regards, people. So yeah, man. I think with that being said, I'm gonna end this live stream. It's been fantastic. In true DG fashion, I've been here 23 minutes longer than I planned, but it's always fantastic to knock it and kick it with you guys. So I'll be back again, probably do one on Monday. I've got one if Curtis still stays, and me and Curtis Shaw on my channel. It is what it is in that regards, people. I'll be back again. You know, we come with streams quite frequently. You lot haven't been taking in the streams as much, man. You lot are making me think, is there a point doing this and sort of things? But it's been lovely, man. There'll be more content. Make sure you become a member if you're able to and things. You know, big up everybody that's been locked in the stream. I hope I've given you something to think about on this Sunday, or just provided you some quality on this Sunday, people. If I haven't, apologies, man. Final questions. Wish I had a clue. Maybe he brings croissants in for breakfast to Arteta. He might be a teacher's pet. My guy, I don't understand that one either, really. Some of the things Arteta's done, I haven't understood, but we'll have to see. Man said, can't wait for the Leeds game. Boy, based on the way Leeds and us are playing, I think I can, really. I hope we win. Boy, it's a madness. But like I said, please make sure you hit the like button, people. Thank you very much for obviously being here. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscription. You know, check out the membership site and whatnot. We've got some exclusive content for members. More importantly than all of that, though, make sure you're all staying safe, people. And you know I'll be back again before too long. DG, I'm out. Big up you, my guy, as well, before I'm out, man. It means a lot that I've made your Sunday, man. It really means a lot. And I'll be back again to try and make more of your days. Check out all my content that's out there right now. And before you know it, there'll be a new thing. But for now, DG.